I don't know Vince Russo. I've met him a couple of times in my life, right? He was there when I was doing that. I can't remember it. I did a poor job. So he's got, whatever his deal is, he's got a poor idea of me. He came to WCW. I don't blame him. I was there then, and he didn't know that I was good and whatever. He'd had whatever experience he'd had of me in WWE or WWF at the time. So I don't blame him not wanting to use me. And that's another story, you know, like he wouldn't, once he came in and I went back to WCW, thankfully Eric Bischoff was very kind and offered me a job back. Once he'd heard I'd come out of rehab, and I went back. A lot of people forget that I went back for a while. Vince Russo came in the September of 1999, and he didn't use me, but Jimmy Hart did. Jimmy Hart put me on all the Jimmy Hart ran the Saturday night tapings. Well, that was always my show before Nitro or anything. You know, that was what I started on. So Nitro was just something else. I like Saturday night at 6 o'clock, 6:05 was my show. That was how I used to. That was what I made my name on as Lord Steven. That was like the spot for me. I was always happy being on that. Well, Jimmy Hart put me on that quite a bit. In that, if you go back and look in '99, and he was using me, and then it come round to the February of 2000, and I get a call from JJ Dillon, and JJ said, "Look, I'm sorry, Steve. He said the company line is we're paying you too much for the amount of jobs you're doing." I said, "You don't have to say anything, JJ. You were nice enough to give me a job. You know, when last year you didn't need to. I understand the job. I completely understand business, right? You don't have to tell me." I knew I was fine then. I knew the drugs, all that was all gone. So I knew I'd get a job somewhere. I'd go back to Japan, because I was going to, even like when WCW let me go in 2000, sorry. This is when I went back to WCW. JJ called me, Vince Russo said, you know, he doesn't want to use you. Right, it's his business, right? I don't blame him, because he only had a bad experience of me in WWF. But Jimmy Hart was using me. Time was up, and then that was the one I didn't want to call WWE. This is 2000 now. Sorry, yeah, it is 2000. This is February of 2000. JJ said, sorry, Darren. Oh, sorry, Steve. He used to call me. Don't worry about the 3-month thing, which, by the way, doesn't hold up anyway, because I live in Georgia and it's a right to work state, so that you can't do any of that stuff with me. But he said, don't worry about that. He said, you've in the last, excuse me, since I went back there in the previous